Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans. What we do around here, we get over 1,500 of these available for your listening pleasure, and we continue to add whenever we can, usually several times per week. This is kind of bad habits that are leading you in a direction of losing either friendship, influence, or both. Please feel free to reach out. I work with habit change all the time, so if these are things that you're working with, or if you have other less than desirable habits you'd like to work on through the remainder of 2022 and into 2023, would love to be of assistance to you in that way. Please feel free to reach out at PO Perception on Twitter and also in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either way, we can make something happen for you. The first thing to look out for is the act of judging others. Now, look, ultimately, we have to make discernments about what's good for our life, bad for our life, and that is perfectly fine. We have the right to make a decision whether we want someone or something in our lives or not. However, judging a person as morally correct or morally incorrect is in itself not productive in so much as one person's moral view and another person's moral view is not always in alignment with what's best for a person in general. Now, that isn't to say that people don't have the right to have opinions about these things, but they are exactly that. They're opinions. They are not set in stone. And if you have a habit of judging other people from the basis of how you see the world, you may very well end up being judgmental in a direction that leads you to be socially constrained or in a negative way. The next thing is fishing for compliments. I think we've all done it from time to time. For the most part, people want to feel like they are more valuable or at least equally valuable as another person around them. However, the searching for compliments thing ultimately makes us either look weak, desperate, or in some way insecure, and all of these weakness, desperation, or insecurity can be used by other people to negatively impact our influence on the world in a general way. And so that becomes problematic in a number of ways, not limited to the fact that at the end of the day, a person may not mean us well, even though we mean them well, and or they can ultimately become things where people judge us based on how insecure we seem. And if those judgments become a major part of the issue of why someone does or does not interact with us, there can be a power struggle for sure, and that level of power struggle is hardly ever good. The next thing is overworking. Now, hard work pays off, smart work is better. Hard work is something that ultimately leads to, at some level, the idea that, if I work hard enough, I will earn the right to be valuable. Whereas smart work realizes that value comes from being fully engaged in the work that you're doing. And when we begin to know that overworking and or even over angling to get attention or affect is something that is not going to be healthy, isn't going to be smart, isn't going to be good for us in the end, we then begin to kind of lose value in the long run anyway. So it's also important to begin to see the value of connecting with ourselves in the right light. That is a light that allows ourselves to be seen as people that are growing, developing, expanding, and changing, but not people that can be completely negatively influenced. The next thing is working so much that we ultimately don't engage in the habits of self-care necessary to thrive. And whether that be eating, relaxing, sleeping well, or all the points in between, not taking care of oneself physically on a consistent enough basis can lead to mental neuroses, psychological breakdown, among other things. And ultimately, that becomes problematic because the relationships we're building while we think we're in the prime of ourselves, but we're not taking good care of ourselves, can ultimately burn out and become super negative, and in the end, ultimately do us more harm than good because the losses are devastating, causing challenges to our own self-image in a way that impacts the long-term affects of how we interact with others, and that becomes problematic in and of itself. So it's important to remember and to begin to remember the nature at which we are refocusing in a meaningful way. Hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.